Welcome back, lovely to see you. I'm coming to you from Tuesday the 23rd. Oh, who am I? Well, I'm Gazbot. Yeah, so it's the late afternoon, like 1:30 Tuesday. It's funny because I'm recording this while, actually I could turn, like while I'm exporting the video that came out previously. So I recorded that Monday, the final piece of that, and now Tuesday I'm putting it together and whatever. And so I've had about 45 minutes, between 45 minutes and an hour free time. Once again, bathroom, snack, a few other little things, and then had to edit this and put it up, and I'm like close to an hour, and I'm like, oh, this is time I could have used to be drawing or doing something else. And this is the age-old thing of, like, I'm making these videos to keep myself accountable, to put it out there, to kind of motivate myself, but it takes up extra time. And for now, though, it's worth it because I do feel a little bit more of a drive and a little bit more pressure since I've been doing the videos. So even though I just spent a half hour editing and whatever, and now it's going to export and post and blah, 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 it's worth it. So I don't know how much time I have. I'm going to see if I can get some work done, but I can't jump right into it right now. But I mainly wanted to record this to say that, like, as of now, yes, it's taking more time to make the videos, but it's worth it. Now, arguably, I'm putting in like transitions and I'm like, oh, here's the art next to my face, and doing like, oh, here's a sound effect and like things like that. That stuff I don't need to do. I feel like it makes a more interesting video when I do these vlogs throughout the day. Like, oh, here I am out here and here I am looking at this. I could do that less because of, COVID and stuff, but the ones I did where I was just sitting at my desk were way easier because I turned it on one day, recorded it straight through, and that was it. The ones like this, the ones like the previous one, I don't know what this one's going to be like yet, that I feel are more interesting, take way more time. So it's a balancing act. But I think the videos in general, for me, right now are worth doing. Also, I shaved. So you see me speed flying through, putting up prints and rearranging, and basically what I'm doing is I'm getting things set up to post on my Etsy store. I needed group shots of these teams of the various Rangers. The In Space I just completed. The Mighty Morphin that I'm doing here I had completed a while ago, but I was selling it with the Green Ranger, and a lot of people were asking to get it with the green and the white, and then some with just the white. And I made those listings, but I didn't have the visual aids to accompany them. I also had to assemble this whole rack you see here, so yeah. So that's what I did with my time. I don't regret it. Once I had the pictures, I was able to multitask, do other things, and be updating my Etsy listings, sales, whatever you want to call them, while doing other things. So that's good. And then similarly, I set this video to upload, and I put the thumbnail on, and then I sent myself a link and the thumbnail to an email. So anytime I could send stuff that I could do over my phone, as much as I don't want to be on my phone, I can multitask a little bit easier. So that's where we're at right now. That's no drawing, but I did art-related stuff, I guess.
Hey everybody, it's Wednesday now, in the morning. Feels like late at night because it's so early in the morning, but it is morning. Anyway, so yesterday I dealt with Etsy listings and sales and stuff, as you saw in the garage, sorting prints, assembling that thing, taking pictures for Etsy. What's funny is I did all that in the hopes that I would sell a set of the new Power Rangers in Space prints I did, or some other big sale. I didn't, but I did sell just a headshot of a Green Ranger from Mighty Morphin, which I could have done anyway. But I have this theory that, like, when you're active on your account, you add new things, you change listings, it raises visibility or something, because it seems like every time I do that, I shortly thereafter get a sale. Could be coincidence. I'm not complaining. I made a sale. It wasn't a huge sale, but a sale's a sale's a sale, right? That's what they say. That's how you make boats, with sales. Anyway, I'm tired, as you could tell. I had a bad night's sleep last night. After that, I had hoped to get a little bit of actual drawing done at night, but I forgot. I told my Qbot that I would help her. We got like a headboard for the bed, and we got it as a gift, and it was uninstallable, so we had to get this adapter set. And basically, it seems like putting a headboard on a bed shouldn't be hard, but it was super hard, and it took the two of us a couple hours to do. So that was my night, and so now it's today. So I'm looking at this. This is the inks I got done the other day, and I want to move forward on this. My hope had been to obviously get a lot further done. I'm going to be on the Artcasters tonight with Josh Kemble and Scott Cirkland, which is cool. And I typically like to be working when I'm on the Artcasters. I end up talking a lot, so who knows how good of work I got done. But the point is, I like to be working because it's an art show, and it's like, oh, I'm getting work done while I'm talking and whatever. I'll probably be working on this. I don't know if I can, though. Because it's a digital, so I need to be facing the camera. My camera's over here. My art table's over here.
So I'd hoped I'd be done with this and I'd be working on the horror, which is digital, so that I could sit there. So I don't know, maybe I'll work on the horror during the show, even if I haven't finished my commission, which goes against all my processes, but we'll see. I don't know. Let's go into it. Man, I can't even open my eyes fully. I've been up for like an hour, but I still feel like I just woke up. So it's late afternoon on Wednesday still. I'm actually doing Artcasters tonight at like 9 o'clock, which is close to when I normally start going to bed, so it's gonna be a late night for me. So I powered up with some Taco Bell lunch and some Baja Blast caffeinated, which I normally don't do, but it's one of my favorite sodas, but I can only have it when I'm treating myself to caffeine. They even have a diet version, but it still has caffeine, doesn't matter. Anyway, so later in the day, I was able to get some work done. I was doing some inking, obviously, on this piece here. And this was not during Artcasters. I ended up not working on this during Artcasters. But what you can see is I'm mainly using, and I have it on a light box in case that wasn't clear. I print out my digital rough and then I'm light boxing it on a piece of Bristol. And I'm using a brush pen. It's Japanese brush pen. I get mine from Kinokuniya or online, depending on what's going on. I usually buy them by the box because I use so many and it's a little bit cheaper and I'm guaranteed to have a bunch sitting around. The kind I get are actually gray on one side, although I hardly ever use the gray unless I'm just doing sketching stuff that isn't going to be finished art. But the tip is just the one I like the best for the price that I've found after years of experimenting. So if you're interested in brush pens and you haven't used them, just buy a bunch and try them and see which one you like best. I do use microns as well. I think on this one I was using a little bit of 5, 3, 1, and possibly even like a 005. All right, it's about 7:15 Thursday morning. Kind of lost track of filming yesterday, but basically I did get some work on the inks, the commission done. I'm not sure how much, but I got at least an hour done, probably more than that. I had like a solid hour of inking, which you saw the time lapse, and then I definitely was able to do the thing that I've been having trouble doing it for 5 minutes, doing it for 3 minutes. In between doing other things, I was just sitting down, and I think it's because I was in such, I don't want to use the word flow, because that's not, I have trouble getting into flow at the best of times, if that is a thing. And B, this was certainly not that. In the zone, in the headspace, in the mindset, that's not quite right either. It's more that I knew what I was doing. I was inking. I decided what pens I was using for what lines. I was sort of halfway through the middle, and it becomes mechanical, which again sounds bad, but it's good because then I can just jump in. It's like if you're doing the laundry. And, okay, well, I'm putting the socks away. Oops, I had to go pick up the phone. Well, continue putting the socks away. Oh, someone's at the door. It feels like that, where I just jump in and go, okay, a couple more lines here. What, I got to stop? Okay, here, a couple more lines here. And I did indulge in the evening. I played video games with my wife and a couple of my friends online. So always I'm like, should I be playing video games? And I make it sound like I play video games all the time. On average, I play video games a half hour to an hour a day, which is too much and more than I should be. At least because I want to be an artist and have limited time. I don't think it's too much for most people. But just to be clear, while I feel I'm playing video games too much, that's the amount I'm playing. However, last night I played for about an hour and a half, between an hour. Well, there was a 2-hour block of time where I was playing video games with my friends and my wife, but there was a lot of delays and one person wasn't ready, and then some of the queues to play were a long time. So while I was talking to them on Discord, I kept working on the inking in between, which wasn't ideal conditions to work, but this is the sort of work I could do. Anyway, this all comes out with me feeling like, okay, I got some work done. I broke through, at least on this. I mean, I'm sure I'm gonna have struggles again once I get back to my comic, The Horror 4. But I broke through and I'm like in the zone and I'm almost done. And while I don't know if I'll finish it today, tomorrow, or the next day, it's moving, it's going. I will definitely be done by the end of this month, which I said I wanted to be done. So that's good. Meanwhile, the sketch cards that I talked about, I showed the Giros the other day from the Ultraman card set that was chosen as a promo card. The Kickstarter's live. I'll put a link below. If you use my specific link, it helps me. Go check out the Kickstarter if it interests you. Support it if you want. But if you are going to support it and you like me, if you follow my link, I don't get money or anything, but the more people that support it, I'm more likely to get hired again. I'm more likely to get more cards next time. I could earn some extra artist proof cards to do sketches on, which is how I really make my money because sketch cards don't really pay that much. So again, yeah, if you're interested, follow that link. But I've been able to show off my, I'm gonna move this way. I've been able to show off my card set in full that I've done, which I'm kind of rolling out slowly on my social media, like one a day, A, to help the Kickstarter, B, to give myself content, and just, it seems like the best way to do it, but I'll throw them all up here as I'm talking. Here's all of them, and then, they'll start cycling through as I talk. But it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that job. I don't know if I ever told the story about how I got that job. Well, no, because I wasn't doing vlogs. it wasn't the typical way I normally get a job, and I really, it's weird. It's one of the jobs I'm most proud of, even though it's not the most high profile, not the most well-paying. It's Ultraman, which is very awesome, but I just feel a combination of it's a project I wanted to work on, and I got chosen to work on it. So there's a lot of gratification there. And it's in sort of a realm, a universe of artists that I am a part of, want to be a part of. I'm a part of in a small way, but want to be part of in a bigger way, and this is a step towards that. And it was a job where I got it because of my initiative. I see people posting sketch cards all the time, and I had never done any sketch cards until very recently, just to be clear. And I see them doing sports and Star Wars and whatever else. And I saw an artist post just the card back because they weren't allowed to show their art yet. Hey, I'm going to be working on some Ultraman. So yeah, I contacted this artist who I don't know very well. I don't know at all really, except for a little bit of interactions online. Like, hey, I like your art. And it was just like, hey, I see that you're working on this Ultraman card set. I'm an Ultraman fan. That looks really cool. How did you get that? Who's doing it, etc. And they're like, oh, well, this company, Aura Parks Cards, is doing it, and just contact them. And the guy who owns it and stuff. And so I did, through Facebook, and I went to their page, and I think there was an email. I sent them 2 messages, identical messages, 2 different channels. And it was a small company, and the owner got back to me right away and was like, yeah, it's not going to be coming out for a while. We might have some slots left open, but do you have samples of sketch card work? Which I didn't really have. I had only done like a couple cards at all in my life, in my career, whatever you want to call it. And so what I did was, I was like, well, let me get like 5 or 10 samples together. And so I had one actual sketch card I had done of a super robot, and then I had a card I had done for a card game, but it was, I'd drawn it larger and then it was shrunk down. And I grabbed a lot of headshots that were like 9x6 and like, this is like what a card would look like. And so I sent them and I said, a lot of these are a little bit larger, but to give you an idea. And then I was like, this one and this one are actually card size. And then for whatever reason, I'm like, well, let me, partially to make sure I could do it and partially just to prove that I could do Ultraman, I got a piece of Bristol, measured out, actual sketch card size, and drew an Ultraman character, Ultra Ace, who isn't in the first show. He isn't even in the series I ended up doing, but he's an Ultraman character. And actually, is he on the wall over here? For a while, he was hanging on the wall. He's not up there anymore. But anyway, I did him, and I sent that along, and I heard back pretty quickly from the owner who said, yeah, you know what? Cool. If you could do 10 cards and have them done by X amount of time, you could do it. And I was like, yeah, I'm in, thanks. And he's like, and I don't remember if I asked or he told me, but he said, I'll tell you what, Ultraman Ace is what got you the job. He said the others were fine, but most of them were larger works. And while the artwork was good enough to work on this, he's like, I've worked with or talked to a lot of artists, or worked with, some artists can draw well big and not small, is basically what he was getting at. And so I proved that I could do it small because in the time I talked to him, and it also proved that I could do it quickly, because I did a card on the size he wanted, of the subject matter he wanted, within a day. I turned around and showed it to him. And so that was proof of concept. And I don't normally do that. I don't normally go that extra mile. And I don't like to work for free, and I don't like to do spec stuff. But this was a case where I kind of did it to prove it to myself and showed it to him, and that's what got me the job. I went out there, talked to someone I didn't know, cold called a company, and then did like a pro bono proof of concept work, and I got the job. Now, again, that doesn't mean it's a super high paying, high profile job, but it's the job I wanted, and I got it. And it hopefully, if this set does well, which it is doing well on Kickstarter, by the way, that's not me bragging, because it's his set and there's like 1 million artists on it. I'm a tiny piece. I'm not the reason it's doing well. But he said if it does well, he's going to do X amount of more sets. I forget the number he said, but a lot. So like, this was mostly about the original series. The next one will be about Ultra 7, on and on and on. And my hope is that I will be included in all of them, which I probably will be. It's not, we don't have a contract. It's just sort of like, yeah, we'll probably use you again. So, but I'm excited about that. And it's, yeah, I guess it pays to go after the thing you want. Doesn't mean you'll always get it. But luck is, preparation meets opportunity. And so my preparation was that I had worked on Ultraman stuff. And really, I kind of wasn't prepared to do sketch cards, but I did a sketch card. So that was the preparation. And then the opportunity I kind of made myself. So it wasn't even really luck, now that I think about it. Had he been at a convention and said, oh, you do Ultraman? Cool, work on this Ultraman card set. That would have been luck meets preparation. This was luck. Opportunity meets preparation. This was more, I just went for it and got lucky. I got lucky that I got it, but I created my own luck by getting it. I don't know, whatever. It sounds like I'm so great. It's more like I never do this. So it's crazy that I did it and it worked for a job, whatever. So today I need to do a few things. In addition to all my normal stuff. Yesterday I was on Artcasters. I'll put a link below. Check that out. And I did this sketch on an iPad. I wanted to work on the inking, but if you look, here's my table for inking. You can see, yeah, again, I've got a lot more done. But I need to sit over here so that they could see me and I could speak into the microphone. I could have maybe put on a headset, but I was like, you know what, whatever. I'm just gonna, it was kind of a heavy topic, so I wanted to be able to focus anyway, and I just doodled on my iPad. But here's what I doodled on my iPad, was my point. And then today I have a virtual hangout with some friends back on the East Coast that I haven't talked to in a long time, and I also need to go food shopping, in addition to a million other things. So we'll see what happens, but my goal is to continue inking this. If I could finish inking this today, I should absolutely be able to finish inking this today. Maybe start Copics. We'll see. So I've lost track of what I've said and what I've done. It's Friday late afternoon. Yesterday I did no drawing. I did no inking. I might have doodled. I doodled something, but nothing worth showing. I've been preoccupied with the Ultraman card set because, as I said, I'm posting one each day and sharing it all over, and because of Facebook, that it weirdly takes a lot of time, and I've been struggling with, like, is that worth the effort? I'm supposed to be working on art, but it is getting my name out there in a sphere I want to get my name out there, and lending sort of a legitimacy or credibility to me that I crave, for better or for worse. I don't know if that's if it's good as a professional to want that, or if it's a character flaw that I need that from other people. But in certain areas like this, I want people to see me as legitimate and not just some fan artist, even though that is essentially what I am. But I almost not a fan artist, but the other thing is I'm posting them all over all these groups of Godzilla, Ultraman, things like that. And when people like it, I'm able to invite them to my Gazbot page. So a objective metric is that when I do this every day, I'm getting like at least 10 new followers a day. Probably a little bit more than that. But those are, like, I'm sure I'm getting at least 10 a day by doing this. So I'm allowing that. And I've had a couple Etsy sales I've had to process. So I've done art things, but not art. I've also been having a rough time with sleep and other stuff that just makes it hard to get motivated to do other things. But I have a little bit of time right now. I did just waste some time because, again, I just sort of wasn't feeling well. And I waste time is a relative term, but whatever. But I'm going to sit down and try to do some more inking on this fella. I don't know how much time I have, but I'm ready to jump in. I will say this. I felt more positive, even though I haven't had time to work on things. I've been feeling more positive and wanting to draw. Oh, and actually earlier today I did I sketched a headshot of the Horror 4, which is not for anything, but again, I'm just feeling a little more positive, a little bit more motivated, even if I don't necessarily have the time. So that's better. I'm only having one problem instead of two or more, whatever. Yeah, anyway, I gotta get to it. And I finished up the primary inks. There's some parts that came out better than I thought, some parts that came out worse than I thought, but overall I think it's acceptable and fine. That's kind of standard when I have to do stuff like this. The average, the net, gain is fine, but there are peaks and valleys that I see, even if no one else does. And I started on the Copics. So let me show you. I'm not gonna get too close, but it's all inked, and like I started on the Copics, and I was thinking how, like, every now and then I'm like, oh, this is kind of what I always thought an artist studio should look like. Because over here, I've got a bunch of reference. That's one I did before, and like different color references I'm going to use. There's music playing, although it's off right now. And then you cut over here, and I was like, okay, I got a bunch of Copics, and then I got like my other pens there, and I got my reference, and I got this lamp, and I got some extra markers here. And meanwhile, there's a bunch of toys, and it's like, oh yeah, this is like kind of what I always thought like an artist studio should look like when it's being used. But it's rare that it's set up quite this way, especially since I work digital so much. But I don't know, it was just kind of a nice moment of like, oh, that's the thing I thought I would be doing all the time. It's Saturday morning around 7:40. I got an okay night's sleep for the first time in a couple days. Not a great night's sleep, but decent. And after 3 nights of horrible sleep, that's a nice change. Yesterday I worked on the commission. I did put a little bit more in after we talked. I don't remember how much. It was sort of spotty here and there. One thing I did was do this quick color mock-up. Because I realized some of these symbols are a little bit different than I'd done before, and I wanted to make sure that, because there's lore and or preference, so I sent this to the client. They said that's fine. So now I'm over here. I finished all the gray Copic, well, the first layer of gray Copic, which was C5, I think. Yeah, C5. And so I did it. I keep covering my face, but I don't think he cares. I did all the shading. But then there are areas like this where this is white with shading. This is heavy shading. This is an area where it's going to be a dark gray. So this is the base, and then I'll put shadow on from there. And I went in and did all the areas. Now, there is an area on here which I won't point out to you because then you'll see it. But this is part of the reason I have difficulty working analog. When it's not freeform, when it has to be real specific, is there is an area that is supposed to be white that I went in and started coloring as though it was going to be the dark gray. I fixed it. I saved it, I should say. It's not all dark gray, but it definitely, I had intended to leave more. So I realized my mistake halfway through, so it wasn't too bad. But I also kind of feel like when I look at this, I'm like, it's kind of done. Like, I like this. I like the gray scale. This makes me think of the kind of comics, the kind of comics I do, and the kind of comics I liked as a kid, where it would just be like one pass of gray, maybe two. So what I like about this is that since it's a white suit, there is going to be color added, but it's a lot of just grayscale. That is one thing I like about it. So here I am working on the Copic again, but I'm doing color now. I basically, when I'm doing grayscale, I tend to start dark and move to light, which is kind of the opposite of how most people advise you do it. And I'm not advising you do that either. When I do color, though, I tend to pick the lightest color that I'm going to use and flat the whole thing in, and then go in and shadow it, which is working light to dark, but not in the traditional sense, because I'm not leaving like white areas most of the time. And part of that is due to I'm more confident with grays than I am with color, and part of that is due to my limited range of color palette, because with Copics you have to have the markers for it, and typically I try to have a middle, a light, and a dark of any color I'm going to need, but I'm always going to have less than I do with gray, because I have 10 cool gray and 10 warm gray. Yeah, so I got pretty far. I started doing some background stuff a little bit. Actually, I'm sorry, I didn't do the background until later, but that's, pretty far, and he approved it, so good to go. Surprisingly, during the day today, I did manage to get some Copic done, as you saw or are seeing. And I'm close to being done with this. I mean, I have to still do his face and some background detail, but I'm in the home stretch, and then I could send it out. And then completely done with client work and focus 100% on the Heart Rate 4, except I just took a new job. Not a huge job sitting on a Grogu pillow. Client work, commission work, not a long-term thing. But, all those Ultraman sketch cards I was bragging about? Well, the Kickstarter is doing so well, and there are so many people backing it. They need more sketch cards, and I'm one of the artists they contacted to do more sketch cards. And then they said I could do 10 more or 20 more. And if I do 20 more, it gets me more visibility, but also I get more APs back than I would ratio-wise. Artist proofs, those are the cards that I get to keep that I could sell, that where all the real money is, because you don't, whatever. So I said I'd do 25, and I have to have them done in about 2 months, by mid to late May, I believe he said it was. If I could get them done sooner, great, but that's like the deadline, which shouldn't be too much of a problem, but I'm not sure how I'm going to be working on it. My whole plan was to clear the decks and then Heart Rate 4, and I actually turned down a job or two, but this is the Ultraman sketch cards, one of the favorite jobs I've ever done, and it's going well, and it's going to lead to more, and so I want to keep this open and continuing and blah. So it looks like I'm going to be doing a bunch of sketch cards. I got to formulate a plan. This just happened, so I'm telling you right now. I've been cleaning the house, so I'm exhausted and dirty. I probably shouldn't be laying on this pillow with my dirty head. Dusty, more than anything. I actually did take a shower yesterday, which was probably stupid, because I'm going to have to take a shower. I got to make dinner. I don't have time to be talking to you guys right now. Sunday afternoon, I'm going to try to get a little bit of more work on the Copics done on the commission. I'm rubbing my eye. I'm a little tired, but I'm not crazy tired like I had been. I had the grayscale on the white armor done, but I feel like it looks a little too gray, and it'll probably look better once I put some background colors in it in terms of popping it out. But I'm going to just, I used 5 as my darkest shadow, and I just started going in and putting a little bit of 6 just in the extreme shadows, just to pop it a little bit more. And I talked to the client, who's happy with it overall, but he had wanted this to be yellow, but he kind of said that after I already colored it red, so it wasn't like my fault, and he's fine with it. But he's like, oh, maybe we can make the handle yellow or something. And I was like, well, how about we just do this little piece yellow? Because I feel like the whole thing yellow is going to look weird. So I got to do that. So I'm going to make that yellow. I'm going to put in the extra darkness, and then just do overall shading. And then when I'm done with all of that, then I will move on to the face. And here I am doing all of that. You can see I'm putting the yellow in, and it worked really good, even though it had some gray shading in it, because it's supposed to be kind of dirty and like whatever. I just kept going in and touching up the gray with the darker. That was the 6 that I was talking about, the C6, cool gray 6. And then, yeah, I'm just doing finishing touches and everything. I'm putting the little glows. You can see there's a lot of like little lights, blue, green, and yellow. What I tend to do with those is similar. I do the lightest color, and then on the edges I do dark. And then later I'll go in with white and put little pinpoints and pick them out to actually look like they're light, they're glowing. That's the last thing I always do is put some whites in. I'll have to do the same thing when I do his beard because he's got a little bit of white in his beard. And then I started doing background colors. And for the background, I'm not doing like any specific image. I just wanted to sort of do clouds, dust, something. Basically when I do backgrounds, it's usually either an actual background or something super designy. But with these pieces, I'm kind of in the middle where it's like wasteland maybe, but mostly warm gray Copics. Well, that didn't last long. I don't know, 10 minutes, but I'll take what I can get.
My feet. Oot, 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 my feet. Feet.
It's Sunday evening after dinner. Other than the little bit of work I squeezed in earlier, I haven't done any artwork stuff at all. Well, actually, that's not true. I haven't done any drawing. I did have to deal with an Etsy problem. I sold, this happened to me once or twice before over the years. It's not like something happens all the time, but I sold a print through Etsy and I don't have any copies of that print available. Usually this happens because I put down, they say to put an amount on Etsy. So I'm like, I have 7 and then I sell 6 at a show and then 1 gets damaged or I lose or whatever. And that happens. But in this case, it was similar to that, but I haven't had a show in over a year. And it was just like an inventory thing where like I did not realize that I had very few left, and the ones I had left were not in good shape. So I just like, oh, I don't have one. So I thought about the best way to deal with it, and basically I wrote the person and said, hey, they ordered more than just that one print. So I sent them the comics they ordered, as well as some bonus prints for free as an apology. And I said, hey, they're coming right away, right on time. The other one's going to be a week or 2 still because I had to order it from my printer. But I'd go through Catprint and they have what's called blind shipping, where instead of shipping it to me and me having to ship it to the client, which would cost so much more money, they'll ship it right to my client and not, put, well, I don't care if they know it's coming from Catprint. Some people do, but they won't put anything from Catprint. It'll look like it's coming from me. Whatever, it's fine. The main point is that they get it quicker and I pay less money for shipping. I'm still ending up paying double shipping because I was only supposed to ship 1 package, now I'm shipping 2, but at least I'm not doing triple shipping. So I'm not losing money on it. Like I'm not in the negative, but I'm definitely making less profit than I would have otherwise. But I don't like disappointing a customer or client. And even still, they might still be disappointed that they have to wait a little, but it's like, well, I'm eating the extra postage. I'm giving you some free prints. I'm trying to make it right. And what I did do, though, this is interesting, regarding printing. If you're interested in printing and that kind of stuff, this is something I haven't done before. I don't print my own stuff. Like some people have a printer, and if you have that set up, this will not be a problem for you. I typically carry a stock. So if it's any print I make 10 of. And if it does well, then I get another set of 10. If it does really well, then maybe I order 20 or more. If I have a bunch of shows coming up, I make 30, 50, depending on what's going on. But a lot of prints I get 10 of, and that 10 will last me 2 years because it ends up not being a great print. And it's like, oh, what are you going to do? And some of those prints that either I only ever got 10 or maybe I get 10 once every year or two. And I'm thinking like, oh, should I keep making these or what? But a few people want them and they're kind of in my wheelhouse. And this print is one of those where like when I ran out, I wasn't sure if I was going to reprint it again. What I'm doing is I added $2 to the price on my Etsy store. I'm not going to have it at shows. It's not going to be available physically from me at all, but you can order it online. And this is the first time I've done this, but I might do it for a few others that have similarly been on the fence about continuing, because it's an investment. If I get 10 or 20 made, let's say I get 10 made, there's a certain investment of money that I have to sell a certain amount to even break even. Usually I make a print, I'll sell 2 or 3, and then I kind of at least break even relatively quickly. But sometimes I don't. And then I'm just sitting on 10 and it's like a year goes by and I haven't even made the money back from the 10 I printed. So anyway, what I'm going to do with this test print is I normally sell it for 20. I up the price to 22 and I normally ship in a few days. I said it's going to take 2 weeks. I think I said 2 to 3 weeks, but it'll probably be more like 2 weeks. And I'm calling it a special order. And so the idea, and I say right in the thing, I don't have this in stock. When you order it, I will get it printed and sent to you. So it'll take longer. And the reason I'm adding the cost, I originally added $5. I'm like, well, that's a bit too much. I'll add $2 because when I order a certain amount and they get shipped to me, I'll get a big batch and it'll break down to a certain amount of cost per print. Doing it this way, I can't do it that way. I definitely will make less money. And
I won't be able to put a bag and board on it. So basically, it'll take longer to get, and it won't have a bag and board on it. But on the other hand, I'm making less money. So we kind of both lose. But if somebody really wants this print, I want to let them, it'll still be available. But I'm not going to be pushing it. It's not going to be part of my business plan. It's not going to be part of anything other than, well, somebody might want this. And actually, it's a lot easier because then I just go and click and upload depending on how long it's been, I'm going to have to re-upload the art like I did this time. And then put their information in it and off it goes. Whereas normally I have to go out to the garage, package it up, send it out. So it's a little bit less labor, a little bit more money for them, a little bit less money for me. Basically, Cat Print wins in this one because they make the most money on it. But whatever, I'm going to try this out as an experiment where it's, like I said, it's a way to let people get art of mine that I'm thinking of discontinuing, and a way that even though I'll get less money, I can still get a little bit of money from it for less effort. So anyway, I don't know if we'll do any more work tonight. Tomorrow, I don't know what I have going on. I'm very close to being done with my commission. I want to have that finished up. And then I still haven't figured out a plan about the Horror 4 and the sketch cards. We'll see what happens. Daredevil me. Yes, that was very challenging. You have no idea. I could have fallen feet. Feet, I say. So it's Monday, early evening, late afternoon. I'm trying to remember if the first video I did started with me going on a hike. But regardless, the one I did where I was on a hike, this is where I was, the same park, the same trail, pretty close to the same area because I was on my way back like I am now. Anyway, this video is going to be convoluted. So, again, it's like the more entertaining the video, probably the longer it takes me to edit, which is whatever. Anyway, we're doing it. So I try to take a hike or a bike ride every weekend. The last couple weekends I've failed for a variety of reasons, but I've tried to make it up during the week to, I've always made an effort to make it up. Whether or not it was a really strong showing or not, that's a different story. But I try to do it for two reasons. One, exercise, and two, mental health. Just getting out of the house, getting out of normal space, trying to get away from people if possible, like all people, which is never 100% possible, but more possible here, certainly. And the last couple times I've gone, I have succeeded to varying degrees in the physical fitness arena, but not at all in the calm, getting out of my world and my head space. But this time, the physical fitness is probably very mediocre because it's less than an hour, but getting to be out here and having seen 2 or 3 people the entire time and just be by myself and listen to birds and stuff has been very nice and clarifying. Clarifying? I don't know if that's the thing. I've clarified everything. It's all translucent now. Boy, my arm is getting tired. I'm going to switch hands because I was using this hand on my old walking stick, which is weird because I guess without realizing it, I was like pushing onto the ground. Not even that I even really need it, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So the conundrum, I've taken on this new job to do 20 new Ultraman sketch cards in just under 2 months. So, well, I'm not going to do anything else. I'm not going to work on any prints. I'm not going to take any commissions. Like I already said, I'm not taking any more jobs. I'm just going to work on the Horror 4, but this is the kind of job I can't say no to. And as I say this, I'm like, oh, what if the new Topps Godzilla card set's like, hey, we want you to do Godzilla cards. Well, you know what? Yes, I will say yes to that. But barring, crazy circumstances like that, I'm not taking any other jobs. I'm just going to focus on this. Now, the big question is, am I going to wait to work on the Horror 4? No. Here's what I'm going to do. Really rough math that I've been doing in my head as I've been walking around is that conservatively, because I don't like to blow deadlines, and I certainly don't want to blow this deadline, I'm going to give myself 6 weeks to get it done from the time I get them, which will be sometime this week. I want to have the Warhammer commission done by then, which I should. I have the figure all done except for the face and the background mostly done. So again, barring something crazy happening, it should be not that big a deal to finish up that commission. Then once that's done, hopefully, like midweek, that'll be done and I'll have my new sketch cards. So I'll start those this week. And I'm not even gonna count this week. This is gonna be like a setup week. And not counting this week, I'm giving myself 6 weeks, even though I have 7 or maybe even 8. But again, I wanna be conservative with it. And I'm not gonna count weekends. So I'm gonna say, roughly speaking, I've got 30 days, which is 6 weeks, not counting weekends. There you go. So to get 20 done, I'm gonna need to do an average of 3.5 a week. Certainly I could do more, certainly I could do less and catch up, but that's kind of what should be aiming for. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna aim for 3.5 a week.
if I am getting 3.5 a week done, any extra free time I have, I can use to work on the horror. Now, again, that's doesn't mean I will. I might need a break. I might need other things done. I might not have extra free time. But if I end up in a place where I have the energy and desire and drive to continue doing some kind of artwork, I won't just keep plowing through the sketch cards. Once I've hit 3.5 for the week, I will work on the horror A4. So my hope is that not this week that I'm currently in, but the following week I'll be starting on the horror A4 again. And then with the caveat that as long as I'm on that schedule, weekends, any artwork I do will be on the horror A4. So that's the plan. It's sounds good. Hopefully it works out that way. It's Monday, I think I said that, and I'm getting tired. Something about talking and walking at the same time gets me out of breath. I guess because I use my breath to talk. Science! Anyway, I'm gonna call it for today, and I'll see you guys next time when hopefully I will, I'll be done with the commission. Maybe have started my sketch cards. I don't think I'll have started the horror, but who knows? You never know. Anyway, so that's me. I'm gonna dangle my stick and say toot doot doodle doot doot.